Welcome to the Tile Happy Hour. It is Tuesday evening, and Tuesday evening is the night where we talk about tile and everything happening in the world, in the industry, maybe not necessarily the world. And if you are new here, my name is Craig, and I am so excited to see everyone that's online, especially like to thank my friends on TikTok who are listening to just me, because John doesn't have 1,000 subscribers. But you know where he is live? He is live here on YouTube, Facebook, and all that other good stuff. John, good evening. How are you? How's it going? Oh, and you're muted, John. Sorry.
All right. Am I still muted?
Nope, I can hear you now.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, well, that's how things are going. Wow, you sound like you're sick. A little.
Yeah, I got to keep my hand hot on the mute button, and I apologize to those on TikTok because I can't mute it there. But yeah, if you tuned in last week, you saw that there was something creeping in on me last week, and it's still here. I don't feel terrible. I have felt terrible over the past few days, but we're making it through. I figure I can at least sit here and look good, even if you have to carry the show with your vocal prowess.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I should have done the intro to save your save your voice there a little.
Maybe so. I made it a little shorter tonight because I kept thinking I was going to cough in the middle of it. But yeah. Regardless, we made it here. It's Tuesday night. Tuesday nights when we talk about tile on many social channels, whether it's TikTok or X, Facebook groups, LinkedIn,
yeah.
YouTube, which is my favorite. And now we're on TikTok, and I'm on TikTok. John is trying to get enough followers so that he can be live with me on TikTok.
You need 1,000, I think, and I think I need 999 more.
Yep. So there's the screen, everybody on TikTok. So John, that's what he looks like, but he is the Tile channel. And so jump in there. But if you stumbled onto this, you have no idea what's going on. We are industry professionals. We've both been in the tile industry since Moses was a little boy, and we just love talking about it. And so this is the time where you can get together, and if you've got stuff to talk about, I'm monitoring all the comments, and I would love to see what you have to say. Tonight's a pretty broad subject, but it's also a niche subject.
Oh, dad jokes. Yeah, Craig, first place, let me save your voice there a minute. First, hopefully you have some tea instead of, I don't know what you're drinking, but.
Yeah, I got my Leroy Southern iced tea.
A little gin and tonic. Cheers to you. Happy pre-Thanksgiving to everybody. Absolutely. Last week was really, really cool because we got to do a broadcast live in person from New York, and it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. I love being with our team. You know, I am remote in Raleigh, North Carolina, but you know, a lot of the team that I serve is in your neck of the woods. It is in New York. And
yeah, our headquarters is in New York. Technically, our headquarters is on Long Island. You don't say. So if anyone ever says you're in Long Island, you'll get slammed. Like if you're in social media, if you're like on a local dad's group on Facebook or something, and someone does an advertisement and says we're the best pizza in Long Island, you're shunned from world. It is on Long Island. You're not in Long Island. So just so you know, when you
guys are so particular about everything.
Yeah. So,
but I love being there. I
as North Carolinians.
yeah, I mean, we're just easy. I mean, you can be on Raleigh, in Raleigh, around Raleigh. It doesn't matter.
Well, we're an island, so your on is correct. So I'm with that. I'm with that crowd. You know.
Okay, okay. Well, I just came back from an island, and I guess
Okay.
yeah, I would say I was on the island.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I just love being there. I mean, that's where our customer service is housed, most of them, and you know, I got the opportunity to do a live class where our customer service team, which is normally, you know, manning the phones and taking care of questions all across the nation, I got the pleasure of helping them set some glass tile together, which was a great fun. And
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in you can talk about something and be a professional in it, but unless you do it, you don't really completely understand it. So I love being able to say, "Hey, let's do this." And so for an you know, I did 3 classes. You know, about 30 or 40 of our customer service, and we set glass tile, paper face mounted glass tile sample boards.
Wow. We went straight for the top of the line
I
technique
figure if you're
there.
going to learn it, you may as well learn the most difficult.
Exactly. Well, um, thanks for inviting me to be part of that process, and it was a lot of fun. It was really what's really cool is think about it as from a company perspective. No matter what industry you're in, if you're selling whatever products,
Mhm.
you're not going to necessarily get invited to like a technical hands-on. You're going to get invited to like how to talk to a customer or how to, you know, do something from a customer service perspective. And this is kind of like a deep dive into something. It's kind of long ball, right? It's a long term. Like if you can get them to actually hands-on do something that's related to the industry that they're in, that one time they get that phone call, they're going to be like, yeah, so you're seeing air pockets or some kind of streaks in your glass, and then do you know how your installer, you know, what kind of trowel did he use? Did he do it in a circular motion, or did he do it straight, and then when he pushed
Right,
it in,
right.
you know, and um I mean, my point is I give Tile Bar a lot of credit because, you know, on a list of things that customer service people could be taught about or trained on, it's important, but it's so far down the list as far as necessities. But I think it really shows a lot of respect and appreciation for our team and ultimately to the customer.
Agreed. And not and all of us are we there's different segments in learning. You know, you hear about it and you maybe can, and I'm sure there's some statistics. You may remember some of it. And
Right.
then you watch it, you're going to remember a little bit more. But when you actually do it, you're going to retain a lot.
Yeah.
Then the next step is, I feel lucky enough to be part of that. When you can teach it, then you feel like, hey, maybe I am worthy of that term expert, even though I still have a lot more to learn and I learn something new every day.
It jumps that you'll retain. I don't know the numbers, but like goes from like 5% when you hear it to 10% and then 20. And then when you teach it, it goes like super
Yeah.
high percentage when you teach somebody, because then you have your brain. I think your brain makes all those it pulls the memories back and kind of embeds it. And you're teaching
Mhm.
somebody, and in order to teach somebody, unless you're just reading it from a book and teaching it, but if you're teaching it from a point of understanding it, uh, then that's where those synapses are made and are somewhat permanent. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that
Those
was really,
connections are getting hardwired.
yeah, those are really cool. That was a great session. You did great. You had a lot of, we had a lot of tech going on. We had cameras because so talk about hands on. We did the hands on with the team that was physically in New York, but we did have people across the country join us
Mhm.
to watch and to listen, to ask questions. So that was really cool. So we had to get the videos and the audio set up, and it was good.
Yeah, it wasn't perfect by any means, and but the more we do it, the better we get. I do want to thank you for helping out because it was you know, Oceanside, Rick Crane, our buddy Rick Crane. If you're out
Yeah.
there, give a shout out. He couldn't make it. He was supposed to be there. Luckily, they did participate with the material, and then Latacrete donated some material. But John Ewer helped out a great deal, and Mario Solis, who maybe listening tonight. Thanks, Mario, for all
It
your
was
help.
great.
And yeah, it was great. There will be a video coming soon of it. I want to try to make it to where it is as close to the actual thing as possible. So we actually had Greg from our creative team there doing some really cool things with his fancy cameras and stuff like that. I appreciate them.
That
Um,
was cool.
my goal for Tile Bar, and this is just where my passion lies, is for all of these things to be available not only to our team but to anybody in the world. So if you want to learn more about tile,
Right.
you're going to be able to find it at tilebar.com, and there's a learning center coming soon.
That's great. Hence, Tile the World.
That's
Yeah.
right. Tile the world. Tile
Yeah.
the world.
Well, talking about tile, you can't talk about more of a niche topic than niches. And
That's right.
and so, well, I think I heard you say something about niche before, and there's two pronunciations for it. I
Yeah.
think they're both acceptable in the world.
Yeah.
In New York, we say niche.
Down south, we say niche.
Down south, say niche. So I did look it up. I think I'd looked it up, and I wanted to see something here.
Okay.
So, what is niche in the Oxford Dictionary? It says a shallow ornamental recess in a wall, usually to contain a statue, urn, or other ornament. Classical niches are usually arched, sometimes with a quarter spherical head, if semicircle on plan, and often with the half dome curve to resemble a scallop shape. And then I looked up synonyms, not cinnamon, synonyms.
Okay.
How do you say that?
I don't know. Only cinnamon I know is from a cinnamon honey bun.
There you go. Synonym. No M in the beginning, in the middle there. So just to make sure we had the right word, it's also could be known as alcove. That makes sense, right?
Yep.
Slot. Okay. A calling. Don't know what that means. Compartment. That makes sense. A corner. All right.
Mm-hmm.
A cranny. You guys probably say that down south.
Cranny. Yeah. Nooks and crannies. Yep.
Cubby hole.
Cubby hole. That's it. Yeah.
And a hole. How much? You want a hole in the wall, ma'am?
You don't charge nearly as much for a nook or a hole as you do.
Right. I think second place it would be alcove. That's the fan. You can charge more for an alcove, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because then it's like a pass through.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I would wonder, with all those definitions, do you see the nasty bar of soap that's just left there in your niche that's slowly disintegrating?
Well, you know what? Actually, funny you should bring that up. I've helped clients for decades designing bathrooms. I designed thousands of bathrooms with tile, and niches are often a part of it. Right. And I have a very strong opinion about them. And what I mean by that is people come in when people are shopping or designing a new bathroom, they have certain things that they want in that bathroom, right? They want it to look like a spa, or they always wanted a walk-in shower instead of a tub, or they wanted a vanity that was made out of a certain wood. Everyone has their own little things. A lot of people want a niche in their shower, and often they want to do something decorative in it, something in the background, right?
Right.
And sometimes I understand the need or the desire from a practical standpoint. You want somewhere you could put bottles of shampoo and soap and sponges or whatever, or a razor. But sometimes people are forcing it to be decorative, too decorative, because if it's like off to the side, if it's not in the center, sometimes I recommend people not to do anything decorative in the background. Just make it disappear. Whatever tile's on your wall, if you were looking at it from a 2D perspective, it would all be the same tile.
Right.
People are often very, very interested in putting something decorative, which I like, but there are times where I feel you shouldn't do that, because especially if it's like in a weird spot or a weird size. But if you don't have a window on your back wall, say of a tub area, and it's beautiful, it's centered, then I really strongly feel it should be something decorative. But I'm just asking people to think twice about drawing your eye to it, because at the end of the day, that beautiful niche with that beautiful tile in the back is going to have a 48-ounce bottle of purple bottle from
Yeah, that's
Costco
right.
shampoo in front of
Yeah.
it. So
Now, when they stage your house, they're going to put a little piece of a glass vase in there
right.
with a peach of hemlock and a natural sponge that looks beautiful. But normally, on a day in and day out basis, it's going to be full of crap.
Yeah. So again, I do love them and I like them decorative. I've talked a few people in my lifetime out of getting nuts about it. Like, just don't
Yeah.
throw something up there because you see it in the magazine. If it's centered and if it's a nice size one, then yes. If it's off centered, I'm not convinced that you should do something to draw your attention to it. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I agree. I agree. I think, and Megan, we all know Megan. Megan, what's happening, friend? Why bring attention to your shampoo bottles?
Yeah. I
But
mean, I did see a bathroom won an award in New York once, and it was a client of mine, and it was a beautiful French limestone, and it was like a niche that was like 12 inches tall, 8 feet wide, and it had candles in it, like 12 candles, and it was
right,
beautiful. And yeah, so that's a real decorative element. So yeah, I'm glad some people agree that sometimes it's too much.
do you remember these?
Wow, yeah. So those fiberglass.
No, these are all ceramic. Megan, I know you remember them.
Oh,
Apple
Apple Creek.
Creek.
I sold Apple Creek products.
Yeah, Apple Creek. I mean, the Apple Creek sold them to everybody. The big ones. I mean, Dow Tile had Apple Creek,
Wow.
but these were the original niches. You cut a hole in your tile and you just jam this joker in there. And this is what I think about when I think of your of the soap slowly disintegrating on these little
Right.
ridges here and digging out. Megan gives us a yes, sir. She remembers them also.
So
But
I stocked Apple Creek soap corner dishes also. And the only problem with Apple Creek, they still in business?
best, I mean, they came up on the Google.
Oh, the problem I had with them was they were hollow. And
Yes, they were hollow.
and so if you were to like, you could really like fraction them if you hit them, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and I don't know about the mauve color. Yeah.
That's called mauve. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, John.
Well, in New York, you got a little Italian accent. It's the mauve.
Do you
And
remember the one that came? Now this you could get the whole set, and then you sold it. So you got you get the recessed toilet paper holder, right?
yeah,
You
yeah.
get the single soap holder tray thing.
Called soap and tumbler. Had a little circle for a glass, and if you had 4 kids, you were good. 6 kids, you were screwed. It usually has 4 holes, sometimes 6
Yeah.
holes in it.
But you remember the one for the bathroom? It had a rag handle on it.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah. So there was a company called Willette, Willette,
uh-huh.
Willette, and I stocked them. They were awesome quality. They were made in New Jersey, and they were solid ceramics. And we had 5-piece sets, which had a ceramic, they're all ceramic, towel 24-inch lucite square towel bar holder,
Uh-huh.
soap dish for above the sink, a tooth and tumbler next to it, and a matching one, and toilet paper holder, not recessed. They were kind of semi-recessed. It just took the place of the tile. And so 5-piece set. I think I missed something there. My math was fuzzy. And they also then did produce the fully recessed ones, but they were super expensive because they were solid. They were super heavy, solid ceramic. Those were the Willette ones. They had gone out of business. Owner was a very eccentric guy. I really liked him. And yeah. And then Apple Creek was definitely more of a bargain one. And you order,
Yeah.
I used to stock Mexican sand, cerulean blue, thunder gray, white, of course, black.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Now, see, this is what I remember happened right before the pre-made shower niches came in. Everybody, instead of doing the ones we looked at earlier, they started going to these shelves. And these shelves were and like Megan said, they're not stepping stones. You can't stand on them. But I cannot tell you how many times before we could get a multi. Hold on.
So while Craig's sneezing there, and hopefully he's still live and gets back to us, Craig, there was. I just want to jump back. In the shower area, there was a soap dish. It used to be called a soap and rail, and it had a soap dish with a little rail on it that looks very much like a grab bar.
Yes, it was a handle. It was a BA 725 is the actual number on it. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I was told it was for a washcloth,
Yep.
and they banned them, or they said it was no good because you absolutely, your mind tells you if you're slipping, you're gonna reach for it, and it was just set on with. We set them on with plaster of Paris. We literally had sheetrock in the back, 4 1/4 tiles, and then this took the place of 1.5 tiles. It was 6 inches wide. The back of it was the thickness of a regular 4 1/4 tile.
Yeah,
and literally would set it with plaster of Paris and grout it.
We used to do the same thing, and we stopped using them because also those handles were hollow, and sometimes they would break, and you could cut yourself pretty bad on those things. And yeah, those were all those things we're talking about right now were the precursor to the pre-made shower niche.
Well, there is one thing that you're not mentioning, and it may be a regional thing. I stocked soap and shampoo holders. They were fiberglass. They were thick, and they smelled like resin, and they were polished on the outside. They were super expensive for I'm talking back over 20 years ago. I remember $84 was the price.
Wow.
Retail, and they were 8.5 by 13, I think the size was, on the outside, and they were super heavy, solid, and they were like cast material in like a resin of some sort, and they made
was it kind of like a cultured stone type material?
Yeah, but it was very dense, and it smelled like fiberglass, I guess. And the outside was super, like I used to stock raspberry puree and oh my God, that was crazy.
Wow, that's you had some classy clients. That sounds like.
Yeah, we did. I even had a raspberry bidet on display in my showroom. I'm thinking the Prince song, but we did.
That's the Weird Al Yankovic song from the Prince song.
Oh, okay.
Raspberry bidet.
Oh, I never heard that.
I just made that up. Sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, so getting back to how we got down this rabbit trail is your niche can be a design addition to what's going on, but also it needs to be functional, and there's a balance between that as you're helping a client design what's going on. And I guess at some point in time, a tile setter said, well, we'll just knock a hole in the wall and I'll waterproof the hole and we'll stick your crap in here. And I guess that's how it got started. I don't know.
Yes, but you got one part wrong.
Okay.
He never said anything about waterproofing. He just said, I'm going to make a niche.
He just said, I'm going to knock it in here and whatever happens.
Exactly. Yeah. He was very optimistic.
Yeah. Well, and then we got into the, I guess that started happening so often. Then the setting materials got into it, and they said, well, if we're going to start doing this, let's do it right. And so now you can buy these pre-manufactured.
That's the way to go.
Holes in the wall, really, and these are pre-waterproofed. And so when you're doing your layout and you're getting ready to tile your shower, you get this first, and this will help you get your layout started. And that's I just did a quick Google search of it, and Latacrete has one, obviously. Schluter has one, and probably some of the other.
Yeah. So before those, people would ask what size, and I said, look, this is a case. If you want to have a niche, this is really very specific to your installer's skills and experience. consult with him and see what he recommends, because he has to construct it, or he has to like prep the wall to build it in. So
because you got to think about how your shower's built, your stud layout.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got 16-inch on centers, you the most you're going to get is a 16-inch wide opening. But if you want it larger than that, you've got to reframe the wall.
Right, exactly. But before these prefab units, so what? I guess they would just then face it with cement board or sheetrock or whatever they were doing, and then tile it.
Hopefully not sheetrock, but some sort of tile board, and then waterproof it, and then tile it and trim it. I think the worst part about most of these niches is picking out the right type of trim and making sure it looks seamless, because sometimes depending on your tile, it may not have a trim available, and you got to use a metal edge, or you got to use a Listello or something like that. And if you don't think through that in the design process and you try to throw it together, you're going to end up on one of my fail videos. Where
a good installer, if the good installer finds that the customer wants a niche of some sort, that has to be like a very in-depth conversation with the client as to what size do they want, what are the pros and cons, how are we going to trim it or heat. But typically this is a perfect scenario where I strongly feel the installer needs to be very proactive and having the conversation with the client. Like, this is how I do my niches, if you want me to guarantee it. Like anything else in the room, I would want to design and tell exactly, this is what you're using, this is how you're doing it, this is the size. But this was the one area where I feel the contractor should take the lead, because the number one goal is obviously the goal is to have it being functional. So so you want one a certain size, but the real goal and the real loose cannon here, or the liability, is if it leaks. Can you imagine, just because you want to have your soap and shampoo in an alcove and now you have a leak, and it's just a disaster. It's not
I've just seen so many of them not necessarily leak, because a lot of times they're not in the stream of water. That's a bad design. You don't want to make sure it's directly across from your shower head where it's spraying directly into it. But just the sloppiness and cuts, and that's just when it comes down to having a quality contractor. Megan says she likes the trend of the long corner niches with shelves. Modern.
It's funny she said that. I was literally just about to say, unless you're going to build that potentially award-winning niche that's centered and nice size and decorative, I just opt for corner shelves. You could put 3 or 4, and a lot of corner shelves. Like, she had said something about one unit. Those are great. But also, I like the separate corner shelves, like you showed before. I would recommend 2 on each side, 3 on each side, or 3 in a row, 4 in a row. People are like, oh, that's too much. Yeah, but you separate it, and who has conditioner, shampoo, if you have kids and they have their stuff, and the spouse has different stuff, and I'm just in the corner, just out of the way.
I like the corner shelves. We sell some really cool, amazing corner shelves from Blanque. Shout out to Blanque. But I like the ones that, and I don't know what it's called. You're more into this than I am. When the niche dives into the inside corner, it almost looks like it's a cave. What is that called? It's called, it's not separate.
Yeah, it's called. John has no idea what you're talking about.
I should have found a picture of it. I'm going to find a picture of it while we're talking. But it looks like where the niche runs into the perpendicular wall, and it's like a double corner side shelf. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've seen that. What's
have
it
you
made
seen
out
the
of?
new niches with the lights in them?
No, I haven't seen that. So let's bring some more attention to the purple conditioner bottle.
Yeah, I mean,
and the fact that there's
you're not on TikTok as much as I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're putting all sorts of, I guess you're right, to bring attention to the to the bottle. But yeah, they're putting lights in there now, and now it looks
I recently did my kitchen, and I added some glass. I included like glass front drawers, lights in there, and I have my shelves are glass and my dishes, and they actually have to look good. And you see you can see dust if you don't clean it. So you gotta be careful what you wish for when you do this stuff. And again, if it's not going to be a focal point, if it's not going to be centered, it really bothers me when people want to draw the attention to something that's like off center. And why is it off centered? What would be one reason it's off centered in the shower? Because they have a window.
Because you didn't want to move the what you call it. Yeah.
Studs.
Yeah. There it is.
I've never seen that.
You've never seen that. John, come on, you're supposed to be better at this than I am.
Never seen that. That looks like some contraption there.
Hold on. Trying to.
That's some pretty good Google skills there.
Yeah, I'm not doing too good.
I never seen that. I almost wish I didn't see it because I don't like it. It's so weird.
I think it looks cool. I think I love the idea. And Megan, you're sending me all these pictures, but I can't get to it on my phone. I love you though.
So okay, I understand it's in the corner, so I appreciate that. And then if it died into the wall, then it's a little weirder. So I understand why you wrap it there. Do you have any that do have a return, or they all have a return?
I think you have to have a return. If not, you got a cave, and you could hide money in there, maybe.
No, like see where the bottles are. Those 3 bottles. What if there was a wall? Like what if there was no alcove in the right side, like in there? Just stop. Oh, I see what you're saying. It would be behind there. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think those are cool. Let's see if there's another.
Those aren't prefab back. Those are custom, right?
Yeah, I think those are definitely custom.
You know what? Look on the bottom left there. Something else we didn't talk about. There's a shelf. You have this big tall niche, and then you can't stack anything. So it's really nice when you do have a shelf.
Yeah. So we said all this to. Do you want to get to the actual ones you planned on looking at rather than the random things I'm pulling off the internet?
It's a good idea.
But the first one you have, and this is very common nowadays, is you're bringing in a separate material as your shelf.
Yeah.
And that's done a lot. I mean, that looks like a piece of quartz there, which is very trendy and very stain resistant and awesome.
So a couple of comments on this. So one, I love the quartz shelf. And what you don't see, you only see part of it, is the bottom ledge is also same material, and it's probably protruding out just a little, right? Like a 1/4 inch or something, maybe.
Yep.
So I like that a lot. I like the fact that you could, I don't know if it's necessary, if it's done here, but you could slope it ever so slightly to the front if so the water runs out.
You should. There should be no flat or negative slopes in a shower niche.
Yeah. I like that the installer continued the grout line from the outside into the inside, the left side there. I think he did a great job there. I also like the choice of materials. It's not, what I find, I guess what bothers me when people put
Tell me what bothers you, John.
Yeah. How much time you have? How much time do we have? What bothers me is when people put what's on their floor in the back of the niche, and what's on their floor really only looks good on the floor. And I'm not going to say hexagons aren't good for walls, but when I see a hexagon, my first thought is it should be on a floor. Just personally, I'm not a fan of hexagons on a wall. I don't care. And Tile Bar has a lot of hexagons, and we do a lot of beautiful jobs with hexagons on the wall. But personally, I think a hexagon is a floor product. I don't know why. It's just something. So anyway, I like the scale of the mosaic back there. Like it fits. Not like a big tile, and big tiles, we'll have some other examples. So I'm looking at this, and I see that the installer picked really good materials for the shelves. I see he lined up the grout. Very good use of metal trim. We could say Schluter or Central metal. And I really like this a lot. What do you think, Craig?
I think it's boring, but I'm okay with that.
We're not talking about Craig, the designer, now.
Yeah, and I'm not a designer. I'll tell anybody that.
You only play one on a podcast.
Yeah. I've been on many job sites where they say, "Hey, can you help me pick out my tile?" You don't want me to do that. I can't match my clothes, and if I stand up, you'll see that I can't do that. But
Got it.
in this situation, it's a very basic. It is a basic installation. I would be willing to bet John's paycheck that the floor tile in this shower is the same as what is
Yeah.
on the back of
And
this.
and it happens to be very good selection. Like, I'm happy that what I don't like is if what they put on the floor wouldn't look good there, and they did it because that was the
Right.
thing to do. So yeah, I hope they have that on the shower floor, because I don't like too many different elements in a room. You don't want,
Correct. Yes.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I hope
Because every niche I have done, I have used the floor tile for the back of the niche. And I
Right.
will say, in my mom's shower, she has a 1-inch hexagon pattern, and we used it for the back of the niche.
I'm sure it looks good.
Sorry, John.
Yeah,
But other than that, I love the
I wouldn't let my mom do it anyway.
I love the way they cut the shelf. They didn't extend it out past the metal. That was a thought. They didn't,
Right.
That was an intentional decision, and they kept that metal continuous, because every time you cut metal, it's not going to look great.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't.
I wonder if
transitions in
the
metal are
ledge.
awkward.
But what do you think about the ledge? Do we know? We don't have a full picture.
I think yeah, sorry about that. I think the bottom comes out past, which is good also, because the metal then dies into the bottom of the shelf.
Oh, it sits on it. There's no metal on the bottom.
Yeah, and gives you some sort of reveal and probably a small overhang. So,
well, this is kind
overall,
of weird.
I
This is kind of weird, but I can't wait to see the next one. This is like funny what makes us happy, Craig.
I know.
All right.
Okay, so very similar. No shelf here.
Right.
It's just a basic cement looking tile as your back. Once again, I can't tell if that's Thasos or quartz, but either or. But this one, once again, I don't. I'm thinking that the metal dies into the shelf and the shelf extends.
Yeah.
Has a small bit of overhang on the bottom.
I see a shadow.
Yep.
Underneath that, and it's probably quartz because it's just a good thing to use, and it doesn't appear to be super bright white unless it's just what's on my screen. And then they're showing a larger tile and like an acoustic tile, which is probably, I would hope that's on the floor too, because that would be really loud to just throw it in there for no reason. If that was the only place in the bathroom to use it. And you see they used the gold trim, so this was well thought out. I like this. I give this
once again pretty basic, but I love the that muted brass trim. That's pretty popular and
well done.
Pretty fancy. Let's see what else we got.
All right,
that's
so
different.
I like this. The jams are completely made of something solid that looks like a natural stone. So I think I see some veining in there. I don't know if there's shadows in that.
I think you're wrong.
Yeah. What is that?
I think that's the tile, but it's got a solid white trim around the edge.
Yeah, you know what? My immediate thought was that white was the edge of the stone, but I think you're right, because there's veining in that right side of tile. I don't see a grout line there, but I'm sure it's there. Oh, maybe it's not. Maybe you took a tile and ripped it rectangularly and there's no grout joint.
Yeah, it's solid. I thought it was solid at first also, which I would be okay with, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, but I like this a lot.
Yeah, I think I like this a lot. I think this is in my elegant category. Once again, the trim is running down into your base there.
Yeah,
and you've got, that's a pretty decent sized shelf, because it looks like that's probably a 12-inch tile, maybe even a 16. So that's some tall shampoo bottles.
Well, you know what? Yeah. So to my point before, like you're not going to have you're not going to have any storage up above, but at least it looks nice. And
Yeah.
so it looks good. And what do you think of those miter cuts on the metal?
They're tight. They're nice. Yeah,
They
it
look
looks
good.
good. And the basket weave is nice. I mean, I can't tell. It doesn't look like it looks too consistent to be stone. I'm wondering if that's not a porcelain, but
Yeah,
I
good
don't
question.
know. It looks very clean for
It,
whatever reason.
I think it's the porcelain because you look at the veining on the porcelain. There's some really heavy spots and some very light spots,
Yeah,
and which like it could be marble for that reason also. But it seems to be consistent with the porcelain. So
yeah,
I would. It's probably the porcelain. Just a lot of porcelains do not have matching diagonal herringbone mosaics,
yeah,
but
yeah.
there's a fair amount of them that do. And if you're going to offer if you're going to find a porcelain that has a diagonal herringbone, it's probably going to be in a white Carrara Calcutta look. So it's probably porcelain. Love it. This is just as good as the others. What else we have?
Definitely porcelain
All
from
right.
the professional Megan Hendrick,
Love it.
and it's not Hendrick, it's Hedrick.
All right. All right.
This is okay, a little bit different.
Is that mitered?
It looks like that is yeah, all the edges are mitered, and looks like they followed the pattern in the wall, which is nice. So you have all of your grout joints lining up horizontally and vertically.
Centered left to right.
Centered left and right. Yep. And
The miter, everything looks great, nice and tight, clean.
yeah, it's clean. And I tell you, looking at it from different angles, you may not even notice that originally. You know, it kind of blends in, but
Yeah.
of course it won't once you stick all of your stuff in there. But
Yeah, but I like. Yeah, it's nice. There's no trim. There's no stone jams. There's no
yeah.
use of metal, but a lot of work. You know,
Now
look at that.
the hard part about that is because most niches are kind of eye level. I mean, those miters have got to be really good and really tight. And
Well, look at that right
gotta be
angle, right? You
clean.
have that right angle cut, and so it's mitered and two planes, right? Going
Yeah,
up and down, and that looks really good. I like it.
yeah. I 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up. Okay, this one's in progress.
In progress, no grouts, shim's still in there. Okay, so you could see the bottom shelf protruding a little, so no need for metal on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Now you see when you're standing in the shower and you're looking at that from a distance,
Right.
you see the metal. See, the metal is like, what is that, a 1/2 inch wide? Can you see a scenario where the metal is on the inside, like the bulk of the metal, and then all you're seeing is the little piece on the outside?
I have seen it done that way, and I'm not sure if there is the only problem when you do it like that in this situation, you have a weird
Grout joint there.
at the bottom, you know, where because you've got to maybe almost dog ear that tile.
Right.
The tile coming in from the side, you got to cut a little bit off of that. So I think you try to embrace that trim and make it work with what's going on, and do it the way they've doing it. You know, if you don't know what you're looking at, you can't tell, but notice they're using spacers and shims in for the ledge, and there's very little of the shim in the back and a lot more of the shim in the front, and that lets me know that they've sloped that piece of stone as they should. Now you got to make sure there's a balance. You don't want to slope it too much to where to where stuff slides off, but you do not want your water to sit back there.
Yeah. Good point. Okay.
I like how they centered the 8x8 was what it looks like, the 8x8 pattern in the middle. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Definitely did a great job there. I guess from a design perspective and its personal taste, I don't think, like, if I really wanted to use that pattern tile in my bathroom, the decorative tile, I probably would not have a porcelain that has too much veins in it. Like if that was like a solid white shower,
Okay.
and then have that patterned tile in the background. Not that
Gotcha.
this doesn't go, but there's a lot going on. For me, it would be a little much, but not bad. But from a technical standpoint, A plus like all the others, and aesthetics is personal. But did a really good job at this.
Yeah.
All right.
No, this one's fancy here.
Nice. So this looks like a full tile. Looks like a 12 by 24 niche.
Yeah, I can't tell if there. I think there's a joint there in the middle of it.
Horizontal joint. I don't think.
Yeah,
so.
horizontal joint there. But yeah, it's clean. It's got great cuts with the metal around the edge.
It's nice. It looks like a brushed metal or the anodized aluminum, so it's very just disappears, right? Especially with the white and gray tile.
Yeah, and the clean either white stone ledge or quartz, probably quartz. But yeah, that's nothing fancy and pretty
well,
standard.
There's nothing fancy, which makes it look fancy.
Exactly.
It's elegant. And you know what? As you're talking, and I'm looking something up, it's probably important not to use Thassos there, because what do you want to have Thassos that you have all these soaps and shampoos?
I agree.
And so it's probably not, right?
Yeah, I agree. It's probably quartz. Quartz is a better bet. It's going to last longer. I mean, yeah, you got some risk if you're using Thassos. Let's see what's next, and we'll be well,
here's something interesting.
Now, this is what we thought the other one was.
Oh yeah, the jams are all stone.
The jams and the top.
Yeah,
so all four sides are solid surface material.
Okay, so because this was done by a really good installer, I feel that the fact that the top protrudes a little like the bottom, I think that was like a very deliberate decision.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? It's like proud on top.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's proud all the way around, but I don't know. But it seems like that may create a little water issue up top. But
so yeah, interesting. It looks like a cat. Like it looks kind of. It's very interesting. I like it. It wasn't possible. Probably it would have been nice if it was symmetrical, but that's just probably the tiles. For first place, I don't like subway tiles vertical. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. I'm not a fan of subway tile, and I'll tell you right now how that happened. Some tile guy like Craig Cahoon's like on a job, and he's like, "Okay, we're putting all the subway tile this way, but I have an idea. Let's do it this way." And people are like, "Wow, you're smart." And then someone did it. I'm not a fan of putting.
You know where it came from? I'm gonna tell you where it came from.
Yeah.
Somebody wanted to use their subway tile on a round surface.
Right, but they didn't have to continue around the whole room.
They did. They loved it, and they did. And just because you don't like it doesn't mean they shouldn't. But we're getting a lot of your preferences out tonight. I like this. It's like the real John Tedesco.
Yeah. So this is my least favorite niche. Not from the technical standpoint, as long as we can get over the fact.
Yeah, we can assume it works. But
top has a ledge, and so maybe is water going to sit there and with dust, but that's fine. But I like that it looks pretty cool that way. I'm hoping the bottom reveal is the same as the top reveal, which probably is.
Yeah.
And so the problem is that if you're going to not have a shelf, and the fact that the tile couldn't be centered because that's where the niche wanted to go, and that's where the tile, there was a reason why the tile's laid out that way. We can't see it now in the room. I would have just made it the height of the tile. Like I would have made it the tile, say it's 8 inches long or 12 inches long.
Yeah.
I would have made that niche the height of, because
one vertical tile.
You're not going to gain any more storage, right? You're not going to lose storage by making it.
I mean, unless you have really, really big shampoo bottles.
Yeah. So exactly. So all right.
I agree. Well, since you don't like that one, let's change things. You sent me something today that I know you do like.
Oh, really? What do we
Yeah. Um, this past weekend, actually, the night before we did last link service, you were at BDNY,
Oh, yeah.
and you sent me a video from there. How about we take a look at that and take a
Yeah.
break
So
from niches for a minute?
Boutique Design New York is the premium trade show for hotels in New
Yeah,
York. And, yeah, yeah. So we had some cool shots here.
cool. Well, here we go.
Hey, it's John Tedisco. Here I am at BDNY, Boutique Design New York, at the Jacob Javits Center. You have to see our new collections. This is just one of them. This is really amazing. So Paula Perroy came up with this art gallery collection. This is a 24 by 48 porcelain tile. Stunning details, incredible highlights. The 4 pieces here make up the pattern that repeat. So here's 4 pieces in this one pattern. And here's another pattern that's just absolutely stunning to die for. 24 by 48. Look at the sparkle on this. It's just amazing. This is John Tedisco. I'd like to wish you a happy hour. What do you think of that?
That's pretty interesting, John. I mean, that's like artwork. I don't know why they did that. That's like artwork, and it was it's really cool. It's amazing the things that these factories and designers are coming up with.
It's really, really amazing. And guess what? I did it. That was actually, the show had ended after a few days of so many people coming through our booth. A lot of customers, clients, architects, designers, hotel developers. That was after the show ended, and I have enough videos to carry me through the rest of the year.
All right.
So I think I have just enough to do my product highlights on Fridays, which that ran this past Friday. I think I have enough to get us through, so that would be cool. Yeah, that was nice.
Well,
Hey,
awesome. That was nice. I love that series. So let's get back to niches, because the riches are in the niches.
Wow. Did you come up with that during our break?
I did not. That I can't take credit for that. I watch. I'm always trying to learn something, and one Think Media has a podcast, and Sports Channel is one of the guys that I watch. Just trying to get better at this and other things, and he says that a lot. He says the riches are in the niches.
I did not. Wow, that's pretty cool. All right, so let me start off by saying this. It looks great, even with the hexagon.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I know you were going to
already.
No, it looks great. It's just when I'm looking at that, let's say I just turned my head and I looked at that, I'd be like, "Whoa, is that a floor just like?" Is it just? It's just. I just think hexagons are floor products, but I wouldn't talk anybody out of it because it looks fine. I mean, the workmanship is good. The hexagons
definitely looks like this one is a natural stone shell.
Yeah, so definitely looks like not a Carrera, just some probably Asian looking Carrera
marble,
marble. Metal trim, grout lines continued through. It looks like it appears that centered left and right, probably top and bottom. So yeah, good job.
I agree. I think that's pretty low key, pretty standard, pretty send the guys check.
You know what we should have done? We should have showed fails. That would have been fun. That could be next. That could be next show. All right, here we go.
Now you talked about hexagons being on the floor. This tile that is on the back here is my least favorite tile ever.
So it's a river stone that's flat. So, and 1,000% that's on the floor, because everybody who likes Riverstone, wants it on their shower floor because they want to feel like they're in a what?
A spa or something out in the woods.
Exactly.
I don't know. Go to
Yeah.
the woods, people. I mean, you're inside.
Yes, they want a Zen look. They want a spa look.
It's terrible.
Very popular. And workmanship top notch. Looks great.
Yeah. Looks like maybe that's a travertine or either a porcelain to look like travertine.
Yeah, good question.
You've got your shower knee wall over here. And so it's in, I guess, as you're walking into the shower, it's right there in front of you. You grab your stuff, and probably to your right is all of your plumbing controls and such.
So do you think a piece of glass is going to go on there?
I think maybe there's a piece of glass going on. You see the room's not painted yet. Normally those glass guys go last.
They go last, right? So a glass panel, silicone. Do they put like a metal panel first?
It depends. Sometimes it's a metal track. Sometimes it's just some grommets that hold it there.
Oh yeah, right. All right. Cool.
But yeah, I mean, overall quality is fine. I am not a fan of river rock, Riverstone, flat, rounded either. It's terrible. Nobody wants to take the time to install them correctly, and really to install them to make them look good. You got to take them off the sheets. It's just part of the process.
Yeah, that tile's nice. I immediately thought it was porcelain because porcelain's so popular, but this could be a natural stone because it's really some nice movement and veining in there.
Yeah, and there's nothing that looks like any of the others. I mean, it all looks, the base color looks very similar, but the veining and the movement is very random.
Yeah, it's nice. All right. Okay, so I could not live with this.
Yeah, that's terrible, in my opinion, and I had nothing to do with the quality. But let me just tell you, there's too much going on. You've got this cream-colored tile or stone, whatever it is, almost stark white shelf, and then this maroon-colored stone pebbles that look like pills.
Yeah, they are strange shape. So yeah, okay, first and foremost, labor looks great, perfect. I don't see any issues there.
No.
The shelf is centered into that like grout line there, so you know that looks good. But it's just a perfect example of putting the floor, which just probably looks really good on the floor. I mean, I'm not a fan of the shape either because that's just unnatural. Like you have river rock, you want it to look like it was like randomly in a river.
Yeah.
So this is something odd about that. So, but besides that, it just happens to be very dark and it really jumps out at you. And so,
agreed.
So.
And I don't think the shelf matches it unless there's some really weird lighting in there. It looks like the shelf doesn't match. I don't know.
Yeah, hard to say. Well, the thing is this: the shelf probably is pretty good in color. It's just such a stark contrast to the background. Like if somehow you can get that same stone in slab, which I'm sure you can't, because that's just some random stone from some river in China. It is another element. So yeah, and what
would you say if they had taken the field tile and put it in the back?
I would have loved that here. I just feel that, and it's hard to tell in the picture, but this may not even be centered in the room. So now you have this off center thing. Could you imagine if this is off centered? Now you have this dot, and you walk into the room, it's like bam, hit you in the face, and then you have your Head and Shoulders and your all that stuff going on in there. So yeah, from a design element, not for me. It's for somebody. I'm sure they loved it, and I'm sure the installer did exactly what the client wanted.
They wanted, that's the key. Gosh, man, we're going to end with all these.
Riverstone is
Riverstone with 3x6 tile. To me, I don't like this either. It's too much going on. I mean, it's a black accent. In my opinion, that the bottom shelf, or not the shelf, but the ledge is too small.
I mean,
I would actually want it. I would want it to come out and maybe dog ear around the corner a little bit, just to give it a little more interest. And of course, the river rock, I hate it.
Yeah. So the cuts on the river rock are good. Like the spacing looks nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Metal is sitting on the ledge, but if the ledge protruded out a little, that would be better. And the black, I mean, the black works because there's black. If you wanted to have that riverstone, if you didn't think that riverstone was too bold for the back, then I could see why the black was chosen. But not for me. But yeah,
Yeah. And then it's got gray grout, I don't know. Yeah, not for me either.
The tile has gray grout and the riverstone looks like it's white.
Yeah, well, and the black accent, I don't know. It's just too much going on.
Yeah.
All right, the last three, I put them all together because they were the odd size pictures.
So a good example of the metal trim on the left, you have a shelf, you have your field tile, workmanship looks good. What's interesting here is what's notable here is that the shelf is up top in the middle one.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a thick shelf. It's like,
I think that's 1.25 inches.
I can't tell. Is that a trim that is on each side, or is that just a shadow? Is it the same thickness as is it the same thing as the bottom?
I think because the camera is straight on, it appears thicker.
Okay.
That's probably because usually the niche, the ledge is below the camera. Here it's high, and I think it's at eye level, and it's
gotcha.
So the customer wanted that for whatever reason up top. They wanted to be able to reach the soap and stuff on top and the big bottles on the bottom. I don't think I've seen that often, but that's what they wanted. The miters look good, and on the right side, some more river rock,
which is the best looking one so far, frankly.
Yeah. It's very pleasing, and I think you like it because the ledge blends nicely.
It blends. It looks like it's got a nice limestone or tile to look like limestone around it. It kind of all blends together. But yeah.
So a bunch of these images were provided by. Well, I actually saw these images, and I asked contractor if I can use them. His name is Matty Ottenwalder, and Final Touch Tile and Stone. He's on Long Island, and he does great work. And I like the fact I had messaged him because I saw him post this. I said, "Hey, which metal trim do you use?" And his response was, "Well, it depends on the tile, it depends on the thickness, and all that stuff." So, but you could tell those niches. The amount of time it takes to do those niches, you could probably tile like the rest of the shower.
Oh yeah, normally somebody that's taking their time and doing it right, a niche is going to take all day.
Yeah,
that's a one day for one guy to really make it look right.
And then the customer's like, "Wait, if I do the math, you're charging me $2,000 a square foot."
Exactly. You didn't hire me to do math, so
right.
Man. But yeah, thanks, Manny, for letting us use those. We appreciate that. And obviously, if you need tile in Long Island, Final Touch Tile and Stone, we'll take care of you. Give him a call.
Yeah, if someone really does want to reach out to him, you could message me and I'll connect you guys. Does great work. And yeah, well, all those pictures, the ones that I sent to you, were those anything?
All those were the ones you sent to me. Yep. I didn't have any room for any of the other ones, any other things. So
very cool.
Those were the ones. But this has been a good conversation about niches. I never thought we were take an hour just to talk about that, but I'm sure there's more. And hey, if you're out there watching online, you're about to miss the live episode, but if you're watching on a replay, we still want to see those comments. Hey, drop us a picture of your tile niche. We'd love to rate yours if you're willing to hear John's opinion of your design.
Be careful. I'm gonna critique it.
That's right.
Craig loves big.
Send us those. We'd love to bring them on air, and we appreciate all of the participation that we've gotten, and everybody. Let's see. Megan says good job notes. Okay. Um, I don't know what she's talking about here, but we're gonna bring it on. John does an amazing Craig Cahoon impression, and Craig is not a professional rapper. I don't know what you're talking about, Megan. People pay me all the time to rap.
You were just about to say you love big niches, and you cannot lie.
Oh man, have you worn my shirt yet, John? I want you to wear my shirt. I got you for helping. I like big notch trowels, and I cannot lie. I mean, it's going to take over the nation, and you can say you got the what do they call it? The first one. I don't know what it's called.
The first edition.
First edition. But yeah, no, John, thanks for the topic. The topic was fun. And everybody that's watching out there tonight, thanks, Megan. Thanks for participating. All those others that are watching on a replay. We wish you a happy Thanksgiving, man. Spend time with your family. Enjoy them over the next few days. And don't forget to keep pushing forward and getting to your goals.
Yeah, so this is John Tedisco. Thanks for watching the Tile Happy Hour. We're on most Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. If you have any comments, suggestions, drop us a line. We'd love to answer them. We did get a bunch of questions offline during the last few weeks, and we've been answering them. So thanks for watching and reaching out. Like to wish you and your family happy Thanksgiving, and also like to wish you peace, health, and happiness.
Yeah. And keep sending those questions. Keep sending us those topics. We love to hear from you. You can find it anywhere. All of our social media stuff. I'm at Tile the World on most platforms. John's got 8 or 10 different names. You can find them somewhere at the Tile channel, John Tedesco, wherever. We want to hear from you. Send us your tile jobs, whether they're good, bad, or ugly. We want to talk about them and talk to you. And don't ever forget, let's always keep learning together and tile the world. And I forgot to prep the closing video. So Tile the World.